What's up, Nova Heads? It's Amber Nova.
This is Chris Lights Out Lytle.
Hi, this is Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Ice Boogie.
It's the real and raw August Arts Walk.
This is Smiling Sam Alvey.
It's Archimedes.
I'm Jack Cartwheel, the real deal, the human highlight reel.
This is Steve Murray.
I'm Victor Henry.
It's ECW Original, The Enforcer, C.W. Anderson.
This is Honest John.
It's Mr. Classic.
I'm Jason Punet.
The young ghost.
It's old Hattie Price here.
When I say what's my name, tonight.
Richie Slade.
My name is Gino Rivera, the Frank Sinatra of the Spanish Mafia.
The incredible one, Anthony Idol.
This is Ken Shamrock.
The golden boy, Jordan Clearwater.
Yo, watch and listen.
Championship online.
This is Alex Mars here. Hi, Richard Modest.
So, please listen to it, otherwise be cursed. Okay, see you later. Love that dinners.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're now watching and listening to Championship Online Podcast here with my co-host Rich, and I'm Alex. And today we have a very special episode. This one is very special because we have seen this gentleman wrestle a few times, wrestling all over California, killing it right now. And it's an honor to have him. And he is the Prince himself, Manny Mars. How you doing, Manny?
Oh, good. What's up, Alex? What's up, Richard? How y'all doing?
We're good, man. We're really good. We're excited to have you. And again, it's an honor to have you on. And, can't wait to do this episode with you. But first, we have a segment we like to do. We like to do fun questions. We ask 10 fun questions to get to know you. The fans get to know you a little bit better on your personal side. Is that cool? We do that for you?
Dude, let's do it. Yeah, I'm ready for whatever question. Hopefully, we'll see.
All right, Richard, start off.
Awesome. Question number 1, favorite movie of all time?
Dude, okay, favorite movie of all time. City of God. That's probably my favorite movie of all time.
Nice. Awesome. Number 2, favorite TV show?
It's gonna be cliche, but I know saying it's cliche sounds cliche, but it's The Office.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was actually watching you before, Alex and I were talking about it. Do you have like a favorite character?
Bro, it's the best. I love Michael. I also really love Kevin. He's like one of my favorite. So
yeah.
He has a lot of good lines too.
Yeah, for sure. He's like every time he's on it, he just knocks out a park. He's like an unsung hero of it.
Yes, dude. And The Office, dude. I watch it like every day. So
awesome.
Who's your least favorite character on The Office?
Ooh, that's a spicy one. I like this. My least favorite character. It might be a little controversial. Robert California, when he came in, it was tough. It was a little tough. Some people like him. I know my fiance likes that character a lot, but it was a little rougher for me to get into it.
Yeah, a lot of people kind of tuned out as soon as like the later seasons, especially with him.
They did. I stuck around like the whole, there's some gems in like the later seasons, man. Like season 8, the whole like when they go to Florida, that's like one of my favorite like arcs in The Office. But yeah, Robert California, he has a couple of good episodes, but for the most part, if you count when Will Ferrell was in there, I wasn't really a big fan of Will Ferrell when he came. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, D'Angelo?
Yeah.
Could do without.
Awesome. Next one, favorite music and artist or band?
Ooh, favorite music. Artist, let's see. Okay, my favorite, I listen to a lot of hip hop, rap, all this. When I was going to school, it was a lot of like alternative. But really the one that stays the most consistent is probably Oasis. Yeah. Oasis is like my favorite band, like of all time. Like I never get sick of their stuff. So yeah, man, that's definitely Oasis.
Do you have like a favorite track?
Favorite track? Oh, it's whenever I'm having like a bad day or something like that, I'll listen to Oasis. Like Don't Look Back in Anger. I'll put that whole album, you know, What's the Story, Morning Glory, or Be Here Now. I'll put that on. It's like some of the best like music. But yeah, them. Of course, I love other stuff. Like I love Red Hot Chili Peppers. Love current stuff like Tyler the Creator. And like one that's like kind of funny that a lot of people might not have heard of a lot is Jaden Smith. Jaden Smith is like my boy.
Awesome. Next one, you have a favorite sport team? Like any sports you watch?
Oh, dude, yeah. So it's funny. I'm wearing like a Warriors hat right now. But I'm more of like I watch a lot of football. Actually, it was funny. I was just watching Cowboys Bucks game like just before I was calling you guys. But the Niners, probably like my favorite team. So I'm always like rooting for them. So football, 49ers, basketball, Warriors. That's pretty much it. Of course, the Giants. Of course, I have to like see how they're doing. Apparently, you know, they're doing real well right now. So
Ooh, you just stabbed Alex in the heart right now. Alex is like a big Dodger fan.
Bro, I'm from the Bay Area. I see the Dodgers in the back. I'm sorry, dude.
I know, right here. You're killing me, Manny.
I know. Interview's over.
I know.
It's a wrap.
Awesome.
We had Rick Ellis on, and he's a Padres fan, so it was it was cool.
See? You know, it's like too many California teams, so it's like you're always kind of like butting heads, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Next one, favorite meal.
Ooh, favorite meal. I'm gonna say, you know, it's a Filipino dish. I'll have this every single morning if I could. It's longsilog. So what that is, it's rice, you know, garlic rice if you're fancy. Longanisa, it's like this Filipino sausage, like pork, and you have it with, and silog means like with eggs. So just longanisa, egg, and like some garlic rice. That's like, yeah. If you guys, I don't know if you've ever had it, but I would definitely like recommend that.
Nice. So that sounds really good. And I think Alex and I have to try it very soon. Sounds really good.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Next one, favorite video game.
Ooh, favorite video game. I have a good amount. I grew up loving, I think the first video game that I really like fell in love with, and I kind of take it with me, is like the Twisted Metal series, like Twisted Metal 2, Twisted Metal Black, you know, the first one, even the crappy ones, so Twisted Metal 3 and 4, I still like play those like a ton. Of course, you know, you can't beat the SmackDown games.
Yeah.
Games are really good. WrestleMania 19 is very, very underrated. That was that was also a very great game that not a lot of people got to play because it was on GameCube. Oh, of course, the Pokemon series. I'm a huge Pokemon fan. So, you know, I even have like a Pokemon tattoo. So that should
nice.
Especially right now, like Pokemon, I think it's just even more popular than ever. Like,
dude, yeah, it'll last. It's just gonna last forever, dude. It's like Pokemon's like cockroaches, man. Like no matter what happens, you know, it'll always be around.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Next question. Outside of wrestling, is there a hobby that you like to do?
Outside of wrestling, yeah, actually, I've been really been into thrifting lately. And this is gonna be kind of like, see how people feel, but I thrift. I'll like flip it. You know, I like finding like little like treasures, like values and things, dude. Like I found, what was it the other day? Speaking of video games, I went into a Goodwill like 2 days ago. I found Ninja Gaiden Black on the OG Xbox. Saw it for like $4. Flipped it, made $40 out of it. It's pretty nice. So, you know, sometimes, you know, I can be thrifty Manny too. So that's kind of like what I've been getting into lately.
I'm a big smile because that's like what Alex and I do a lot, especially like we have friends that do that. Like video games right now is just crazy how like the resale value is on eBay right now. It's just
so crazy. Yeah,
I mean,
like I see a lot of Wii's actually in the at the
yes.
Goodwills. I've been picking some of those up. Dude, yeah. If I ever see like GameCube games, like Xbox games, things like that, dude, it's just like, oh, I need to go grab that right now.
Yeah, especially I just think like with like COVID happening, everyone's starting wanting to be like, getting to hobbies. So like everyone's like a gamer or a collector of some sort, and it's just everything's like skyrocketing at this point.
Right. Dude, yeah,
crazy.
it's like, and that's the thing. We all kind of have to have our hustle, sometimes a 9 to 5 job isn't enough. And, of course, wrestling, I'm traveling a lot, putting in a lot of gas, and you need to have like an extra. It's just too crazy. I mean, you see the gas prices are nuts. So you got to have a little side hustle sometimes.
Oh, you have to for sure. Awesome. Next, do you have a ritual you like to do before entering the ring?
I love that question. A little bit. So typically with whoever I'm working, I like to, of course, we'll go over our match. We'll kind of go over our match. We'll talk about it, and then I'll usually kind of like go off somewhere by myself, kind of go over the match by myself, kind of leave myself alone. I also like to watch the matches before me. But I typically like to leave myself in a quiet place just before my match, just to kind of like get my head right. Think about, okay, how do I want to come out? What do I, I got to remind myself constantly, okay, think about the fans, think about who's there. Don't just worry about what's in the ring. And it's kind of like, I'm kind of hyping myself up before I go out there, just to remind myself, because it's like, we train for this stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, remember to react to the crowd, make sure to do everything right in the ring. But just that extra layer of like telling myself just before coming out of that curtain, like, hey, remember to do this, remember to do that, because I'm going to regret it later, But yeah, just kind of isolating myself before a match really, really helps me.
So do you feel that when you think about that, like once you get in the ring, everything just kind of melts away and just clicks, or like you still feel it out?
Dude, yeah, it's it does and it doesn't. Actually, it was funny. I was telling my fiance and Romeo after our match. There's one point, because it typically does like melt away, and then I just kind of go off instinct, and that usually helps like carry me through the match. But the last match I had with Romeo is weird. He gave me a German suplex, right? I took like a nice bump from that, and then I laid there, and then I just thought to myself while I was laying there, like, man, I'm in a wrestling match right now. This is kind of crazy. How did I get here? And then I'm like literally laying there like, oh right, people are like watching me wrestle. And then I forgot like, and I forgot what was next in the match, and I was like, oh right, I should probably get back to this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy feeling.
It's like surreal, kind of like, whoa, wait a second. Like
it was, yeah, because you know how that little roller skating like spot is, like with the lights and stuff. I'm laying there just looking up at the lights, like, man, this is crazy. I'm like in the show, and everyone's just watching me wrestle right now. It's almost like kind of humbling, and like you had to take a second to do that.
You just gotta soak it in for a second. I'm like, okay.
It was, yeah, but I was like, well, I should probably get back to this.
That's awesome. Cool. Next one. Did you have a favorite wrestler growing up?
Yeah, dude, it's funny. This is also gonna be pretty cliche, but and some people will tell you like the super indie name that got them into wrestling. But dude, honestly, I mean, I tell people it's the three. It's like Stone Cold, it's Jeff Hardy, it's CM Punk. Those are the three that like come on. They're the ones who got me into it. The ones who like got me to like Stone Cold was like, I say Stone Cold's the one who boosted the interest in wrestling for me, and I like watched it like all the time. Jeff Hardy was the one who was like, ooh, cool, I want to try all that stuff. That guy is so cool, and kind of, perform the moves, right? In the backyard, or like, with my friends. And then CM Punk was like the one who was like, dang, I should really look into like deeper into wrestling. Those are like the three that got me to pretty much where I am right now. So
That's awesome. What are your thoughts on CM Punk returning, especially making his debut in AEW?
Oh my god, that was crazy. I haven't felt like that since when Edge came back. When Edge came back,
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like a fan. Like, I haven't been this excited. It's like when you see like a clutch play, like in the fourth quarter of like a football game, someone gets like the winning touchdown, and you're like, oh my god, this is so crazy, or something, And then I felt the same, I felt the same thing with CM Punk. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. And granted, it was a little like, and I try to avoid this. The rumors were like, oh, CM Punk's coming to AEW, he's coming to AEW, and I was like, okay, we'll see. So it was kind of like hinted for a while, but still, when he came out, I was like, this is freaking nuts. Like, I can't believe he's actually gonna wrestle again. I really thought he was just gonna call it quits and be like, you know what, I hate wrestling forever.
Yeah, that's what a lot of us thought. I mean, like you said, like Instagram and social media was flyers constantly, and from all these reported sites, and then he comes out and people are in tears, going through emotions.
I don't blame them. I mean, he was like that, like, impactful. It's like you saw, it's like you're watching your favorite show, and then like you thought they killed your favorite character off, and they brought them back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
No, it's awesome. Next one. If you could have a match with someone that isn't a wrestler, it could be a celebrity, fictional character, an athlete, who would it be?
Oh man, that's a new one. That's a good question too.
It could be a video game character, anything you like.
You can be Michael from The Office.
Oh my god. Yeah. Like Dwight or something. Oh, you already got that thought spinning in my head. Like, now I'm only thinking of Office people. Probably. See, now I'm just thinking. Now I am just thinking Michael. I think it would be so funny. Michael. That's really all I can think of now. Like, I think Michael Scott would be fun to wrestle, and Dwight, probably a triple threat match.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be a hilarious match.
I keep on picturing that scene when Michael and Dwight had that karate match.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like, they already had a fight. So yeah. I just want to insert myself in there.
How would you see yourself?
How would you see that? Yeah.
Or I would just pay to watch a wrestling match between Michael Scott and Toby. So
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, once again, we really appreciate you taking the time to do this podcast with us. We wanted you for a while. I mean, the first time we ever saw you wrestle, I believe, was at a Westcoast Wrestling Company show, and it was Nobody Does It Better. I believe you were in a fatal four-way. It was you, Rickster, Houston Uberstud, and Ruben Iglesias. Talk about, like, real quick, how was that first time stepping in the ring, first time making your debut for West Coast? What was that experience like for you?
It was great. I mean, I was paying attention to WCWC for a while. I was like, man, how do I get on that show? Because me and Snipes, Snipes, we're actually pretty good friends, and he was getting booked on there, and I was like, wow, I kind of like the way their stuff looks. Hopefully I can get in, and then luckily I did find a way in, and that fatal four-way match, I was just like, okay, I want to stay here. I want to keep getting booked here. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to come out. I'm going to do my thing, and I need to make sure I don't screw up. Whenever I show up to a new promotion, I'm always just thinking in my head like, okay, this is like your audition. You cannot mess up. And then luckily with the folks I was in there with, you know, with Uber, with Ruben, with Rickster, you know, I've seen some of their stuff before. I always like to do a little research, you know, with people I'm working before I get in the ring. And they're all like and all three of them were very professional. They knew what they wanted, and we really meshed well together, I thought, in that match. What is it? And it was funny actually coming in as like the new guy and then being told like, hey, okay, you're gonna win this match. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna win. Okay, this is kind of weird because I'm like the new guy. I didn't think I was gonna win. I'm just kind of like I said, I just feel like I'm auditioning for you and you keep me around if you want me. It all kind of worked out, so still here.
Yeah, and then now today they made an announcement that you'll be taking part of the Fatal 4-Way for the Wild Card Championship belt that they're bringing back. How do you feel to be part of that and to be in that match?
Dude, it actually feels pretty good because yeah, Adam like hinted that at me at the last show, and I was just thinking like, okay, you know, that's cool, you know. And I try not to take everything like super seriously, like, you know, especially in wrestling, you know, nothing's ever promised. So when someone tells you like something like some good news, you always take it with a grain of salt. And when you told me like, oh yeah, we're bringing back the squad card title, and you know, we're trying to make a Fatal 4-Way, and it's like, okay, no, that sounds cool. I was thinking, you know, in my head, I was like, man, that would be really cool to, you know, have like a title match, especially for the anniversary show that they've got going. And I was like, you know, but I never, you know, I never know. I could like also not be booked for the next show. Who knows? But seeing that, you know, that actually get like announced, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then I see a couple new faces to work with. I'm like, that's even better. And Romeo, he's great to work with too. So yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, you know, whatever the outcome might be, we'll see. You know, I don't know when this will come out. Who knows? You know, I've got one. I got one title. This could be two. You know, and in fact, I think that same weekend I have a third title match. So there is a potential
Three
for
titles,
three titles. Yes, after that weekend. So who knows? We'll see it. We'll see what happens. You know, of course, yeah, I like to say, you know, just, and I've learned winning. It doesn't matter in wrestling, but I can't help but think that certain people look at you differently when you win and when you have titles, right? So you know, of course, best case scenario for me, I walk away with 3 titles. But if I don't, it's no big deal. I'm gonna do whatever I can to like make everybody who I'm working with like look amazing. So
That's awesome. Yeah, man. Hopefully you walk away with 3 titles, man. That'd be awesome.
We'll see, man. You'll see me posted all over social. I'm telling you, I'm gonna have to like schedule a photo shoot and everything.
Awesome. And then like talking about, you know, especially now in the state of California, now shows are getting back in. They're starting opening now. But when COVID started to happen and everything started to shut down, what was COVID like for you? What was the whole experience for you and trying to get back in the ring?
You know, it's funny because it was weird. Like I was kind of going through a little bit just because I was kind of fighting in my head. Like it was fun, even though COVID was happening and people weren't running shows. And I know everybody else wasn't working, but for some reason in my head, me not being on a show meant like, man, no one's looking at me. People aren't paying attention to me. Why am I not getting booked? But of course, my wonderful fiance has to remind me like, because it's COVID, like you're dumb. No one's working. I'm like, okay, fine. Yes. Okay. That's true. I should stop overthinking this. Cause I see people, even though they're, the lockdown was happening, I was still seeing some people get booked, here and there. But that was like New Japan. It was a much larger kind of promotions people were getting booked for because they could handle those COVID protocols. But I really took that year as an opportunity to also be like, this is a good time for me to kind of step back and kind of use this as an excuse to take a break. So let me just sit here on the couch, eat whatever I want, enjoy my time, with my fiance and with our home, and just kind of like, enjoy life as much as I can, enjoy it during the lockdown. but it was fine. It was nice. It was nice being kind of at home, chilling, and not running around so much because I was so used to that for like the past like 5 years.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we talked to a lot of wrestlers, and there's always different stories. Someone was like, someone said that it was kind of hard to stay motivated because we didn't know when shows were coming back. Did you ever feel that spot like, well, we probably would never ever see wrestling shows for a long time? We could have been years from now. Was there ever thought of you?
I mean, it crossed my mind. I knew that. I'm not gonna lie. I knew that somehow, some way, there were still going to be some promotions out there that were going to just run it anyway. I like me knowing wrestling, knowing how some promoters work. There is going to be someone who is stubborn enough.
That one guy. Yeah.
No, there's always that one guy or two guys. Because sometimes that's just. Some people get impatient. They can't. They don't want to wait, and they're like, and. Whatever excuse they might have, it's like, F it, I'm just gonna do it and see who comes out, and it's their choice, and it's the choice of the workers if they want to show up for that kind of show or not. For me, I am being a little careful. Even now I'm also being a little careful. I'm kind of limiting, my training, some of my bookings. Just because it's in contact with so many people, especially training. You're kind of touching everybody in the ring, rolling around in the mat that everyone's sweated on. So I'm trying to be real careful about that. But I wasn't worried that wrestling would never come back. I knew someone was going to try to make it happen one way or another.
Because Alex and I, we even as fans were waiting for it to come back, and we would see like these posts on social media, like there's a show in this parking lot, or there's a show in this gym, and we're like, what? And then it would get shut down, or there's like 10 people there.
Dude, yeah, I know. and that's the thing too, like being like, as a fan, right? It's probably even more frustrating because then it's like, well, I literally shouldn't even go to the show, and there's so few, there's even fewer shows because, sometimes there's not a lot of shows on the weekends. And then, with the lockdown, there's even fewer shows. So it's like, okay, I don't want to have to drive like 3-4 hours just to go to this one show, but it's the only show around. But yeah, man, I mean, I didn't have any doubt that wrestling wouldn't come back. I knew some way, somehow it would come back. I think the only sad part about it was I think wrestling was really like on a roll just before COVID hit and is getting real popular again. And then just to see it kind of die for like a year, it was kind of rough,
Oh yeah, I mean, I know for Rich and I were like waiting for shows to come back, and finally now we've seen promotions over to the state now finally opening, which is awesome, and now take me back to the beginning, of your wrestling journey. How did it all start for you? What made you decide you want to be a professional wrestler?
Let's see. For me, what it was is, I think it was back in 2013. 2013, I started a new job. It was an office job. I sat there. I think it was like my first week, and I think somewhere in that first week, I was just sitting at my desk, and I was like, "Damn, is this it? This is just my life. This is about all I'm gonna do, And I was kind of sad about it. I was like, man, no, I gotta do something else. I don't want to just like work, go home, and like that's it. So I kind of started racking my head of like things that I might be able to get into that I really like. And the first thing that popped in my head was wrestling, right? And this was around the time, CM was 2013, so CM Punk was like still like the hottest dude around, and I was listening to like the Art of Wrestling. I was listening to a lot of like I was really paying attention to like the independent scene and how getting into wrestling worked. And I just thought, okay, maybe wrestling. I loved wrestling like for practically my whole life. Let me see how I can get in. So I go to, I remember I see like a flyer, I think. I get a flyer. Oh, I remember. I was at a bar. I was watching a pay-per-view, and some guy handed me a flyer for Gold Rush Pro Wrestling in Pacifica, right? Back where I'm from in the Bay Area. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'm with my friend. Hey, you want to go check this out? We go check it out. Wow, this is really cool. This is really cool. And then we're like, hey, let's go to the next show. We go to the second show of Gold Rush Pro Wrestling. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to ask if I can, if they have a school. So some of the wrestlers I see who becomes my future trainer, his name is Dylan Drake. I go to him and I ask him, hey, do you guys have a school? He's like, well, we're actually thinking of opening one up very soon, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, great. And then I get his contact. Actually, it's funny story. You guys are gonna laugh at this. There was a girl there that she was kind of working the show, but she was working the show as like a manager type of situation. And I knew her from online dating. And I did, and then I recognized her. I told my friend, like, hey, what's her face? And he's like, no way. He's like, you should ask her about the wrestling school stuff. I was like, okay, fine. And granted, and this was, nothing happened between us. We literally just stopped talking and we never met in person. So this was our first time meeting in person. No, I walked up to her during this wrestling show and I'm like, hey, and she's like, oh my God, what are you doing here? I was just like, checking out the show. So, wow. So, and she talked about wrestling school too. So I was like, are you like wrestling? Are you like wrestling now? She's like, no, I'm just, I'm trying to train. You should try to train too. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. So we swapped contacts. We got in touch of like, oh, like this school's cool, this school's great. I don't know so much about this school. Long story short, I showed up to Gold Rush Pro Wrestling training school, which was a offshoot of the APW boot camp up in the Bay Area. I don't know if you've seen Beyond. Have you seen Beyond the Mat?
Yeah.
Do you remember the school there? Do you know APW?
Yeah, I remember. I know which one.
Okay, so APW, they shut down because Roland Alexander, that guy in the documentary, he passed away, and this was like the resurrection of that school in Gold Rush Pro Wrestling. So I started off over there, and it was funny because I was like, dude, I'm like 5'4", 5'3", right? And then I'm like, I didn't play sports in school. And then I was just like, I'm gonna get my ass kicked. I'm like gonna get my ass kicked in training. I've heard all these horror stories of people throwing up, giving up, getting their arms broken, their legs broken and stuff. I'm just like, but I got into this mentality of like, you know what? I'm here and I'm just gonna do the best I can to get through this. I'm gonna do the best I can. Like no matter what happens, if I break anything, I throw up, I pass out, I black out, whatever it might be. So then I do the damn thing, and then I end up being like the first one in my class to debut, and it was really awesome. But it was literally me committing all of my time to training. Like I would work, go straight to training. And I would probably be at home. I was living with my parents at the time. I'd probably be home just to sleep and then go back to work and then go to training. You know what I mean? I missed out on a lot of like kind of family functions, things like that. It was funny that I have to shout her out because I think it's just interesting. Is Thunder Rosa and AEW. Yeah, we started at the same time. She started Gold Rush with me. So we've known each other for a while, and it's really awesome because we would like be competing like all the time, like in training, dude. She was, dude. I'm telling you, she was like the most athletic person there for sure. Like she was way more athletic than me. She was way more athletic than like everybody else in our class, and you can see like she is like honestly the hardest worker in like wrestling that I know. Like there's no one I know that grinds harder than her, and I am not even surprised that she is where she's at right now, you know. But yeah, I mean that's essentially how I got my start, you know. My trainers, if you're curious, are Dylan Drake, Matt Carlos, and another man I owe a lot to is Idris Jackson, who I trained with. All like great Bay Area staples. Got real lucky with those guys.
That's awesome. Was there any like any advice that they given you that you like still keep to this day?
Yeah, something that we would commonly hear is, I say all this right, it's keep your mouth shut and your eyes and ears open. You know? So that's just basically just be real, just be humble. Another great piece of advice that I got, actually, that it didn't come from them, but came from a guy named Virgil Flynn, who passed away a few years back, was, you know, and if you're going to try to do a move, make sure you can do it 10 times in a row before you do it in the ring, you know? And I'm like, okay, that's great advice. So, you know, I always like took that as like, yeah, I don't want to just be the guy out there trying stuff out like during the show. Last quote that I heard from the guy who kind of resurrected the APW boot camp and ran Gold Rush Pro Wrestling, Sparky Ballard. He told us, if you're on time, you're late, and if you're early, you're on time. That was also another great piece of advice that I've got. So.
Nice, that's awesome. And then like, was there ever a time like did Gold Rush ever like do like seminars? Like, did they ever bring any like big names to work with? Did you ever do any like those types of seminars?
You know, they had a lot of our local folks come in. MVP, he was in Oroville. He's been in the scene for like over a decade. They also had Sin Bodhi. He came in. I don't think I was actually present there when they had that seminar, but Sin Bodhi was there, and a lot of local guys. A lot of our like veteran, and I think that was great about the Bay Area is like everyone was so down to help each other, and all like the vets that have been around for like I said, like over a decade in that territory. And that territory was always so down to like share like their knowledge with us. But yeah, as far as like huge names go, you know, we didn't that was the thing about Gold Rush Pro Wrestling is they didn't have a lot of big names in that promotion. You know, big names is because, you know, they had a lot of the local guys, because Sparky had this mentality of like, you know, why bring in the big names when we're trying to push our guys, you know, let's make them stars.
Yeah.
And I love that mentality from Sparky, because, you know, he really made like the most out of all these guys that he brought in.
And also like starting out, you know, was there any like videos that you would watch on wrestlers to get inspiration on your styles or anything that any certain guys that you would watch?
Oh yeah, dude. Like I was watching a lot of cruiserweight stuff. I think when I was first getting in, it was the Tiger Mask Dynamite Kid matches. Yeah. Those matches, I was addicted to those matches. I was watching all of them. Just the way, just to see, you know, how they worked, and you know, this was like in the 80s, and the way they were moving and how fast they were going. I was like, I kind of want to wrestle like that. You know, it was still very mat based, but it was also like mat based, like kind of technical, but it was also kind of high flying. It was like flashy, but it wasn't like you know, dangerous or whatever. You know, they weren't doing like a million Canadian destroyers, and like they weren't doing like like 450 splashes. And, you know, I thought that was like so cool that I got to. It was so cool that they were able to do these really flashy moves, but it wasn't like these super complex like moves, you know, to set up, and you know, things like that. And I watched even more like Ric Flair, more like Steamboat, more like Shawn Michaels, just to kind of get more of the storytelling aspect of like matches. because man, I will watch that Ric Flair retirement match with Shawn Michaels like 100 times. That's like one of my favorite matches of all time because
Yeah.
you know, you want to tell a story, man. That's it right there.
Yeah, you need a tissue box for that one. Every time it gets me.
Every time I got tissue like in my hand, just like, okay, I'm ready for this finish.
So like take me back, what was it like, you know, you finished training, you have your first match. What was that whole experience like for you to come out of the curtains for the first time and to perform?
The first time perform, oh, I was so freaking nervous, dude. I was questioning everything about myself. I was like, am I even ready? Am I even ready? Like, can I even do these moves correctly? Am I gonna like throw up? Like, do I even have the right gear? I was like questioning the gear I had on. I was like, I look so dumb. What am I even doing? And then and when I had my first match, it wasn't even like I remember I went to the top rope for no reason. We didn't even call it in the match. And I went to the top rope for no reason. And then I slipped. And I was like, why did I do that? It was so dumb. So I was really, really nervous. And I didn't know how to get the crowd going, of course. You know, it was my first match. But there was so much doubt. And I knew even after the match, like I knew there was things that I messed up. And I needed to hear it. I needed all the feedback that I could, because I knew I was here to try to prove myself, you know. So yeah, I mean, overall, just like a ton of nerves, really.
Mm-hmm. And also like explaining, you know, talking about earlier, you know, mentioning what wrestlers did you watch to get your ring style, but was there any videos on wrestlers that you would watch for mic skills to improve on that? Was there any certain type that you'd watch?
Yeah, like I said, Ric Flair also. I mean, you can't go wrong with watching anything Ric Flair. So the Flair promos, the Dusty Rhodes, like can't go wrong there. And it was funny because I was never great at the mic, especially like starting out. I was like never great. I feel like I've evolved a bit since then for sure. So it was hard because all I would watch was like, yeah, Flair, I watched Dusty Rhodes. And then, you know, it was these guys that I'm like, I know these are good promos, but I'm trying to channel into my character and how I can translate it and, you know, make it sound like me instead of trying to sound like Ric Flair, trying to sound like Dusty Rhodes, you know? Yeah, and I think I'm still doing that. And then I was also trying to find like inspiration outside of wrestling. So I would watch stuff like, dude, I would watch people who have like heat on them. I would watch like Kanye West like interviews and them saying like ridiculous stuff, because I'm just like, I want to do stuff like that. I want to say stuff like that in my promos. I think that would be cool if I just started ranting like the way Kanye rants. Like I remember there was this one interview where he was like arguing with the interviewer. It was like, and you see people out there with leather shorts. I came up with leather shorts. Now you see everybody else out there with, and I'm just like, this dude is ridiculous. He's complaining about leather shorts. I'm like, this is crazy. I want to do stuff like that, like be a big baby about things, you know. So I was trying to find like other like inspiration like outside of wrestling, just to be like you know, because it's quote unquote like real, you know.
Mm-hmm. And then
that's really cool. I like how you going outside of wrestling and like seeing something like in pop culture and like, oh, that works, like that gets heat, and you know, let me bring it to wrestling. That is really unique. That's really cool.
Thanks.
And you know, talking about, you know, now, you know, you're the Pinoy Prince. You come up, you know, with the nice jacket and the crown. What did that all come about? What made you decide to run with that? And what was the thought process of creating something new, something fresh, something different?
Well, it came up because, well, I was pretty generic, kind of like first few years of me wrestling. I was pretty generic, just like, okay, this kind of cruiserweight wrestler, you know, trying to be technical or whatever. And then it's like, I need something extra for myself, you know. Let me do something that is kind of me, you know. it was funny. I was hearing. Whenever I got out to the ring, I started to hear stuff like, it's Bruno Mars, it's Bruno Mars, things like that. Oh, I hate your music, Bruno Mars. And I was like, this freaking, these guys. And it was funny. I was even hearing like Bruno Mars like before wrestling, and I was just like, and for a while I was just like, I do not want to do Bruno Mars. I do not want to. Even when people told me I should do Bruno Mars, I was like, I don't want to do it. And then, I saw when he came out with that 24 Karat album, Bruno Mars, and then he came out like with the jewelry, the Versace, with the shades on. I'm just like, all right, he has a lot of like drip and stuff, and man, I'm really liking his look. And I'm like, I like nice things because like, I like to go and splurge sometimes, and I like nice things. And I was like, I should kind of lean into that a little bit, and I should basically just almost rip off Bruno Mars. You know what I mean? Like, let me look up, where I can find a really nice jacket, and then and the whole crown thing came up because I was like, Philippines, they don't really have like kings and queens over there or anything, and it's funny, it came up when I was looking at like my, Facebook, it has those like memories and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember in APW, they had a Royal Rumble in the Cow Palace, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a huge freaking deal. And then the guy promoting it, he was starting to come up with monikers for people. And this was like years back before I came up with this like gimmick. He called me the Pinoy Prince. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And I looked, and then when I checked back on my memories and I saw that, I was like, Pinoy Prince. And I decided to merge this kind of Pinoy Prince gimmick with with Bruno Mars. And I thought, you know what? If I'm gonna be fancy, I need a freaking crown too. I might as well lean into this Pinoy Prince thing. And and then I was thinking, create this thing where I can really show that I'm representing my own people, because for me that's also a huge thing, the representation, seeing more Asians, seeing more Filipinos like in wrestling, because I didn't get to see any heavyweight champions. I haven't seen any heavyweight champions who were Filipino, because Batista was Filipino.
Yeah.
But there's still like a very small like percentage of them in the company, and I wanted to be, and it wasn't obvious that he was Filipino other than his flag, the flag on his arm, his tattoo. But I really wanted it to be obvious, like, I'm Filipino, I'm here for my people, I'm here for you, and I'm gonna be everything that is, and just like you might see TJP, he's like the Phil Am Flash. I'm also Phil Am, I'm Filipino American. And I also still want to continue that representation of being Filipino American. So just like TJP, I'm just like a different version of that Filipino American.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where that's kind of where this character kind of like starts, is me, my people, my representation, and then myself, which is like the flashiness, the person who likes to spend money and likes to look nice and dress nice. Yeah, just kind of like into just really diving into that culture. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I remember like Rich and I were talking, the first time we ever saw you, right away, what first threw me was like, the song, the entrance song you came out with, listen to that, and then the crown and jacket. And like, I know like Adam always talks about how, it's not the moves you do, the flips or whatever, it's how you present yourself. Bill, and you do it the best I've seen.
Dude, I'm telling you, that song is so over. Everyone loves it after that song, and I'm so happy. I had another song before that I liked, but then it wasn't hitting as hard as I wanted to. It was like Caribbean Queen. But then now I've got Love Come Down with Evelyn Champagne King, and man, I think the inspiration behind that was, I want to come out to something old school, because I love like old school music, And then, everyone comes out it comes out to like some aggro music, you know, you hear like hard rock, alternative.
Yeah, the generic
rap,
rock music. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like let the bodies hit the, you know,
or like
whatever.
a park or something.
And then I'm just like, you know what? I can still be taken seriously and come out to like a goofy song or like a fun song. So I was like, let me slow it down for everybody. Let me make sure the audience is having fun. Let me come out to this song, Love Come Down, because I love this song. You know, it reminds me of like a lot of the stuff my parents listen to and I like listen to on a regular. So you know, I come out, I dance, you know, all this. And the crowd's with it. And then, you know, and then at some point I cut them off and I remind them I am a bad guy.
Yeah.
Know? It's like I always tell people, you know, even though because some promoters are like, oh, you're gonna come out to that song, but you're a heel, you know that everyone's all dancing to that song. I'm just like, you know, it's like when Chris Jericho comes out to his song, you know, like like everyone is singing his song. But when he comes into the ring, you know, when everyone's singing the song in AEW, he comes in the ring, people will boo him. Like the audience will do what you want them to do if you can work it. But that doesn't mean they can't still have fun with you, like coming out there, you know. So that's kind of where I'm at with like that song and that entrance. It's like, cool. That's what I needed for my character, you know.
Yeah, I remember Rich and I were like in the back. And I remember I looked up and I'm like, is that Love Comes Down? And he goes, I think that is it. And then we look at the curtain and I remember you're walking, you're doing your thing. And I'm like, that's awesome. I was like, that's different. I've never seen it, but it grabs your attention though. And I think that's what everyone.
Oh my God. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But yeah, I love it too. I love when you come out and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Because the way you do it is just, like I said, you do the best. I mean, the way you present yourself and, you know.
Like the walk and everything.
Yeah, the walk.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, man. I just, you know, it's about that entrance, you know, like I'm a firm believer that, you know, the match starts when you come out through that curtain, you know.
Yeah.
That's when you gotta really get it going.
It's true. It's like the match starts there pretty much. Like you command the audience as soon as you come in.
Yeah.
You do your walk, and then like you said, as soon as you go through those ropes, like wait a second, he's a bad guy. Like,
yeah.
I'm not cheering for him anymore. It just works.
And you know, like the benefit of having an entrance like that too is I don't need to do much. I don't need to do that much in the match either. You know, like I have flashy moves I can throw in here and there, but if for some reason something happens in the match and I can't get like my moves off, or you know, I need to give my opponent, you know, more for whatever reason, as long as I can make my entrance, I'm fine, because people will remember me for something still, you know.
It's true.
So.
Oh yeah, and especially, you know, going in your career now, you know, when you look back in your career, what is your favorite match of yourself that you've been involved in when you look back in your career so far?
That I've been involved in? Oh, yeah. I've had a couple. I'll give you two matches that I really like looking back on. The last match that I had that I really liked was kind of recent. It was with Snipes. We had a pretty good match. It was a freaking banger, man. Like it was for my Central Valley Championship in CWA, that's California Wrestling Association. I'm the Central Valley champ there. We had a match where he was going to go for it, title match, and we kind of had I'm a face over there. At least I'm supposed to be a face over there, you know. But the last shows that we've had over there, they haven't really been feeling me. And I pitched to the promoter, like, hey man, I was thinking of like kind of turning heel, like for this match, just because I feel like that's what the fans don't want to really cheer me. You know, that's my feeling. And he was like, yeah, I mean, if you can make it happen, you know. And I was like, yeah, totally, man. He's like, all right, cool, I trust you. I was like, sweet. So and I love that, you know, when a promoter is flexible and they believe in their talent, and he gave me the reins and Snipes the reins to kind of to control our own match. So I come in there, I'm dancing, doing my thing. I see it, everyone's cheering me. And, the whole story is like me and Snipes are friends because we are friends. And I wanted to be real about it. We do the freaking bro handshake, hug kind of thing. And slowly, very gradually in the match, I start doing like cheap things to try and win. At the end of the match, I hit Snipes with a low blow into my finisher. And man, at that point, the crowd like hated me. They hated me so much, and they loved Snipes so much after that. And I was just like, this is exactly what I was looking for. Like get Snipes even more over and get them to boo me like for real. And they did, and it was awesome. And I thought it was a great match because I thought we told the story like perfectly. And then another match that is one of my favorites is against a guy who I trained with back in Gold Rush. This was back in Gold Rush. It was his name's Ethan White. We had a ton of like singles matches because we had a big kind of rivalry going on, and one of them culminated in a hardcore kind of match. And so it was just so fun because I've never been it was never in a hardcore match before that. I showed up, I was like, I'm gonna show up, dress in all white. So I bought like white shirt, bought some white pants, because I was like, I want to go into a hardcore match wearing all white, and then I want to come out of it looking like real gross and dirty and stuff, And we used everything, man. We used a ladder. We used I remember he like power bombed me through, like kind of gave me a buckle bomb, but into like some cabinets. We had cans of soda that we smashed on each other. The crowd, we had like a little hot dog kind of stand over there. That was like, hit him with the mustard or something like that. He grabs the mustard and he's just like, spraying it on me. I'm like, ah. And then, we had these, we have guardrails. We have a bunch of guardrails at Gold Rush. So what we did was we set up kind of like a table with guardrails outside the school, outside our Gold Rush. We call it the Gold Mine. So outside the Gold Mine, we set up like kind of a table thing with like the guardrails. I climbed on the ladder and then I got onto the roof and I jumped on him from the roof. It was like a splash on him from the roof. And it was like, it was so freaking fun. That's and it was fun. It was ridiculous. And we had that whole story to tell. And, that's also like one of my favorite matches.
Yeah, because I was watching that match on YouTube, and I remember like he came out all white, and then towards the end it was all like,
I was like, yellow mustard all over me. I got a bunch of dirt. I didn't bleed though. Luckily, I didn't bleed. But that was tons of fun.
And then speaking, with now, what are your goals now? Like, is there anyone that you want to work with? Any promotions you want to sign with? What are your goals as of now for you?
Oh, thanks. Let's see. My goals right now for wrestling is, with wrestling, let's be real about like independent wrestling. It's hard to get paid in independent wrestling. So a lot of my goal is, I'm at this point, I'm like 6 years in, and I'm at a point where I'm just like, I want to make sure I make a good profit off of wrestling. I want to, just like my thrifting, I want it to be I want it to be another hustle for me. You know what I mean? I want to make good money. I want to, like wrestling is fun. I love it. I will, any day with wrestling is a great day. But I want to make sure I get paid. I want to make sure I earn enough money. And as far as like getting signed, I think getting signed, of course, that would be like fantastic. WWE is like in Florida, Connecticut, and then AEW is also in Florida. And I think that's like well and great. I think it would be awesome. I would do it in a heartbeat to get signed if that happens. But for me, it's funny. I look at other promotions like NWA or GCW. I just want to show up to places like that, especially like NWA. I just really like the vibe that they have going over there. So I think that's like that's definitely like one of my goals is get some value in the way, travel the world, really just, I want to be able to travel the world on pro wrestling's dime, essentially. I think for me, that's what it is. Mexico, Japan, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. And any particular wrestlers you want to work with in the future?
Definitely someone like TJ Perkins is someone who I would love to wrestle. Someone, I need another Phil M, like someone who like represented like my people greatly. Like I think, yeah, TJP would be awesome. I want to wrestle Thunder Rosa again. Like we're in different parts of our career, and we've put on, we've gone through, like we've put on so many miles on our cars, and we've got more mileage in our bodies, and more experience. So I want to see what that looks like. So TJP, Thunder Rosa would be like honestly my ideal opponents.
Oh yeah, dude, that would be so awesome. I mean, the Phil and Flash versus the Pinoy Prince. I mean, isn't it better than that?
Dude, I gotta have it. I gotta have it.
And then speaking, working, like you said, you worked with Thunder Rosa. How is that working with her during the match? What is that whole process experience like working with her?
Oh, she's awesome. She doesn't hold back. We were taught to be really stiff. That's kind of like a trait of NorCal, of like to just hit someone, basically hit someone as hard as you want. Just don't injure them. That's what I was taught. But she comes with it. She's smaller, I'm smaller, so we both know to kind of like give it a little extra. So when she's in there, she giving the chop, she's really like giving it to you. And she's really entertaining in the ring. So she knows how to get a crowd hype. Like if someone is dead, if the crowd is dead, she knows to get these people like back on her side. And she's just so easy to cheer for. She knows exactly what she has, a certain presence with her. And it just helps that much in the match. Not only is she great like technically, but to also be that person who just like has that you're just naturally attracted to and fans can get behind. That's really rare. So yeah, I mean, working with her is like fantastic. I love her to death.
Oh yeah, and and then with all the success, she's having everything. When you look back in your career, is there now like would you ever like thinking about going like is there any independent companies, especially like around the country or even anywhere you like to go and sign, especially how independents getting bigger and bigger? Is there any certain ones?
Yeah, I mean GCW. I don't know if you've heard of like Starboy Charlie.
Yeah.
Like he's also like he's also one of my day ones. We trained at Gold Rush together.
Oh, okay.
So he's I would like to see Starboy Charlie at GCW. See, that's another match I would want to have. Is a match against him again. GCW. Like I said, NWA is the other one, but I want to try more stuff on the East Coast. I think anything on the East Coast, I would be down for, because it's just a new territory that has never seen me, that I've never wrestled at, that is so far away from home for me. Also, I don't know if like Rev Pro is still a thing, like back in the UK, but I like to be over there too. That'd be sick.
Oh, absolutely, man. We'd love to have you. If anyone's watching this, book Manny Mars right now. You gotta book him.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
and getting, we're getting closer to the end of the pod, but if you could give it anyone that's watching this, if that wants to become a wrestler, wants to get into business, what advice can you give to someone that wants to be in the ring?
Advice I would give to somebody trying to come in. Do your research, put everything you can into it. Make sure you have your weekends free, because wrestling happens. It's another piece of advice that I got too. Wrestling happens on the weekends. Make sure your weekends are free. And just know that wrestling is a lifestyle change. It's not just some hobby you pick up. It's something that you need to commit like the majority of your time to, like day to day. And I would say go in expecting that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Absolutely. Great advice. And again, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this with us. We've been wanting you for a while, and watching what you've done in West Coast. You're our favorite wrestler, man. I'm saying it right now.
Oh, stop, dude. That's because I'm here. You don't got to say that.
No, but it's the truth, man. We look forward to, with the match we've had with Romeo and then the Fatal 4-Way. I mean, I look, even there's stuff we're doing in the back, and I'm like, oh, if Manny's next, I want to go see that entrance. I want to see that match. So we definitely leave the back and we go see it, man. This is experience when we watch it, man.
I appreciate you guys, really. And then like we had that little like backstage interview thing, and that was fun. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys having me and allowing me to like talk my stuff and just kind of let you guys know and let everyone watching know like how it all started for me, and and then some.
No, man, we thank you, man. It's a pleasure, to have you on, and we really love your story, how you got in the business, and and again, you've been killing it, and I wish you nothing but success in the future for your wrestling career. And again, watch him on September 26th as Manny Mars will go. And I'm saying this right now, he's gonna win. Okay, I'm putting my prediction right now. He's gonna walk away with the wild card title. I'm putting my money down. Okay, he's gonna win it. I don't get me wrong. I like the other guys, like Romeo, like Vito. Those guys are great wrestlers. But I'm putting right now, Manny Mars. Quote me right now. He leaves as a champion.
We'll see. I'm hoping. We'll see.
Again, you're not gonna want to miss the September 26th at the Woodhouse in Hemet, California, Westcoast Wrestling Company. That's also Wrestle Wars 13th year anniversary. Not gonna want to miss it. And again, tickets are still available right now on Eventbrite. Is there anything you want to plug in? Anything social media? Anything you have? Any upcoming bookings you want to plug in?
Oh yeah, so I got Prince Manny Mars is my handle for Twitter and my handle for Instagram. So just at Prince Manny Mars. I'll usually update it with my shows coming up. Usually let everyone know before, but I've got the 26th. We've got that is the 26th, right, for WCWC? I believe it is. Yes. Okay. And that is Sunday, Saturday. I think I have a show in Compton. I have a show in Compton Mania. I think that I will be in the main event. I am in the main event, going for the title there. So that's why I'm saying, who knows? I might be walking away. That
3 titles, man.
3 titles. So that would be pretty cool.
You gotta get that trophy case ready. You gotta get it ready.
Yeah, bro. I know. I'm telling you, get that trophy case. I'm gonna have a photo shoot. Just brag to everybody. Share it all over social media.
Awesome. Once again, thank you so much for joining our pod. Really appreciate it. And also thank you for everyone that's listening to this episode. Really appreciate it. That's going to be the end for us here. My co-host Rich and I'm Alex. We'll see you guys next time here on Championship Online Podcast.